Alright, good morning. I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and this is an unplanned video. Which, if you watch my videos, you would think most of them are unplanned. I know I'm not the best at preparation and things like that. So anyway, I recently lost my entire Facebook account, Instagram account, all that stuff. I got hacked and it's gone, and so I've been trying to re-find all my leatherworking friends and stuff like that on Facebook for over a month now. Anyway, well, since all of my old pictures and all that stuff are not posted anymore, I just started going through and posting old pictures again and things like that. So today I posted a picture of a bracelet similar to this. Okay, this one is alligator, and the one I posted was alligator also, but it's turquoise. But anyway, what this is, there is a piece of metal in here, and it's just a cuff bracelet that I made, covered it with leather, and seemed to have a lot of interest on, hey, how'd you do that? What's inside there? So why not make a video? So here we are. There's not much to this at all. It can all be found minus the leather, which sometimes even the leather. The pieces and materials you'll need can be found at the local craft store, if it's a good craft store. But anyway, we will get to it right now. Alright, got my overhead camera on today. So again, here's the cuff right here. Yeah, I really like it. I wear it a lot. I made one like what we're going to make today, but I can't find it. I wore it for a long time. It was starting to look really awesome with all the sweat stains and just, you know. Leather's one of those things. It looks amazing when it's perfectly clean, and then it looks amazing after it's been beat to hell. And so, yeah. This one was a crust gator, so when I got it, it was white. It was unfinished. I did all the dye work and stuff like that on it myself to try to make it look like an alligator, and I think I did all right. I was playing with some new dyes that a company wanted us to try out, and they're great dyes, but the price point is not that great. Anyway, what do I have here? I have a piece of russet Wicket Craig tooling leather. I have a piece of English bridle. I have some, nope, I wasn't going to use that. I was going to use this natural 0.8 millimeter MLS Superior Hand Sewing Thread in natural color. And then I've got this little piece of metal right here. Okay. You can put, they sell bracelet blanks at a lot of craft type shops and things like that in the jewelry section, jewelry making section. This is a stainless steel one. I like it because it's when you bend it, it holds its shape really well, and it's not easy to accidentally bend, you know. Sometimes if you have aluminum that's this thin, it can be very easy to accidentally bend. Accidentally bend, and so yeah. Now, as you notice, that is not shaped like a wrist, but mine is. So there's another little thing you can buy at a craft store. You don't need this. You can easily bend this by yourself. But this thing sure is nice to have. Again, I know for a fact that like my local Joann's and Hobby Lobby both have these little bracelet benders, and that's all it is. When we're done with our bracelet, you put an end in there and you bend it around, and I mean, it just so quickly and easily does very nice bends on bracelets. Yeah, and then I've got another fancier little bracelet bender for hard to bend areas. I don't remember where I got this one, but I don't think it's quite as common as the other one. When I make a lot of these, it's very seldom that I even use this thing, but sometimes it can help if I'm having trouble getting it bent straight. So anyway, very, very simple build. Okay, it's all about stitching. That's the biggest thing with this is you need nice, pretty, good stitching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this bracelet blank and I'm going to put it down on my little scrap of English bridle on the back, and I'm going to draw a line around it. Just trace it. Okay, and I don't really even have to do that. It's more of a just a guide. Okay, But what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat the back of my, I should have mentioned this, by the way. This is about 3 ounce English bridle that's going to be on the bottom of the bracelet. And this is 4 to 5, maybe even 5 to 6 ounce russet leather. I really would like it to be a tiny bit thinner than this, but this is the piece I had sitting around my office. I wasn't going to go cut another piece in the store just to make something that should be made out of scrap. Okay, that's part of the point of this, is take a worthless piece of leather scrap and turn it into 60 bucks or more. Or it depends on your audience. All right, so I'm going to take my contact cement. Now I am using, I've been using a lot of our water-based contact cement, but today I am going to use our solvent-based contact cement for this one reason. When this stuff, contact cement, you know, you put it on both sides of what you're going to glue together, and then later on, once it's dry, you stick them together. Well, the great thing about the solvent-based contact cement versus the water-based is that when it's ready to stick together, it doesn't feel sticky on the surface. Okay, it's just the chemical makeup of the two surfaces sticking together that make it sticky. And that's great on this occasion because we don't want the leather to stick to the bracelet on the top. It doesn't really matter on the bottom, but on the top, we don't want it to stick on there until we know we've got it ready to stretch over and do what it needs to do. And with the water-based contact cement, it really is a lot more sticky as it's dry in just a single layer. It's definitely got some grip to it, and I don't want that on this project. So I am slathering this stuff on here. I'm not doing a thick coat, but I am just kind of throwing it on. Kind of throwing caution to the wind here and just getting it everywhere. Because I do want to make sure that once I stick these two pieces together with that piece of metal in between them, that there's a good 1/4 of an inch all the way around the piece of metal that is stuck. Okay? So I'm going to let this set up for about 5 minutes or so. I want it completely dry. I don't want it wet at all. So about 5 minutes or so, and then when I come back, we will stick it together, and we're going to use a bone folder. I don't use one often, but this is definitely a project for it. But we're going to use a bone folder and mark our stitches and stuff like that. So we'll be back. All right, we are back. This is dry. Okay, and yeah. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to place my metal piece right back where I drew my little line to show me where to put it. Doesn't have to be 100% exact because, again, I slathered glue everywhere. Okay? And then I'm going to take this piece and fold it right over the top. And this is not the most desirable piece of leather that I'm using here. It's actually kind of undesirable. It's got some marks and stuff on it. But again, as I wear this and sweat in it and everything else, it's going to look really, really cool. Okay? Now, I am pressing down with my fingers pretty hard around the edge as I glue these two pieces together because I need to be able to see the outline of my piece of metal in there. Okay? Now I have 2 bone folders. One's a real bone one and one of them is actually made of metal. You don't need to have a bone folder if you don't have one. There's lots of things you can use. You can use like this is an awl. It's not sharp. It's got a blunt tip to it. That's very important because as you rub around this, you don't want to scratch your leather. You're just trying to form your leather. Okay? But I'm going to take and just lightly start making my way around this thing with my bone folder. And as I do it, you'll see the outline of it really starting to take shape. Okay? I'll do both the sides and then I'll do around the edges, the corners. That is the trickier part, is the rounded corners. It's not hard, you got to go slow and pay careful attention. Okay. All right. So there we are. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that all this is pressed down all the way around here. Another really cool thing I can use is my my duckbill pliers, and I can push together and really seal that glue on there. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that that glue is good and stuck. So here we go. Around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Now this is one of the rare ones that I'm going to create my stitch line and stitch it, and then after it's stitched I'm going to cut the excess off, which means I got to be real careful when I'm cutting, because now by that time I get to that, I've got some real time invested in this project and I do not want to screw it up. Okay, so I'm going to go 8 stitches per inch. Grabbing my fancy irons here. Okay, I'm going to raise my camera up just a little bit so that I can get it out of the way while I do this. So I don't hit it with my maul. Now you can use a wing divider and create you another stitch line, but no joke, I'm going to take these things and I'm going to put them just as close as I can to my my bracelet in there. All right. If you're not as experienced, you may want to create you a stitch line just to give you something to follow. But again, I'm just using the edge of my metal bracelet as my guide on that. And who knows, maybe that'll turn out to be a good thing. Maybe I shouldn't have tried to be hot-headed and do it that way. We'll see when we're done. Okay, down here to the end, I'm just going to use my little 2-prong punch to go around the end, because obviously the 8-prong punch is not built to go around a curve like this. Alright, down the other side. Back to the other end, back to the 2-prong. I'm sure I could sew one of these on my sewing machine pretty well, but I really like the hand stitch look. I mean, this thing gets a lot of attention. I get a lot of compliments. Funny enough, I got more compliments on the one like this than I do my alligator one that I wear more often. So kind of weird about that. But it is a little bit more artisanal, I guess you can say. Alright, so I've gotten to a place where to put 2 holes there is too much. To put 1 is great, but I don't have a single prong punch. So I'm just going to take an awl here. And there we go. Now it's like it never happened. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to hand stitch all the way around this sucker. If you need hand stitching lessons, I got plenty of videos out there, but I am not the one to give you the best of hand stitching lessons. There are amazing videos on saddle stitching on YouTube and stuff, and feel free to check some of them out. Alright, I'm going to stitch this up. When I come back, it'll be stitched, and we're going to very carefully cut it out. Alright, there she be. All stitched up. Looking pretty alright. So far we hadn't screwed anything up, so let's see if we can continue that. So, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the sides off, and then I will cut around the ends, okay? Now, before I have used a round punch, like the end of a belt punch, to do the round part, but I realize that not everybody has such a tool, so I may try to hand cut these. I don't know. We shall see. Whoop. My boss is calling me. I'd better answer it. Just give me a second. Sorry about that. When Janie calls, you answer. Alright. So, all I'm going to do is I'm going to set my ruler here, excuse me, up against, it's probably a little less than 1/8 of an inch from those stitches. And then I've got my snap knife here. I busted off the last blade, so I've got a fresh blade here. Okay, and I want to hold that ruler really still. I don't want it to move at all. And I'm just going to run my knife all the way down it. Okay, I'm just going to go past the rounded edges, because it's going to, I'll mess up if I try to, you know, do all the edges and everything at once. And I'm taking little cuts. I could try to power through it and cut all of it at once, but if I do little cuts, then I'm not pulling crazy hard and I'm not causing a problem. Okay, so there we go. Look at that nice even border right there. And the most beautiful thing about this is, if you can look at that, you see both layers of leather and there's not glue in between them, and stuff like that. That's why this is such an awesome project, to do that kind of, you know, sew it and then trim it. Because it'll also help us when we go to do our edges. All the glue's already gone. We're not trying to, you know, glue 2 perfectly cut pieces of leather and make them marry up nicely without any glue being all over everything. So, here we go. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to put my ruler up there, hold it down really tight. If your ruler has writing or anything like that on it, which it should if it's a ruler, right? I put that, my writing is down against the leather, because that'll help me grip it a little bit and it won't be slick. Okay, because I don't care about the measurement, I care about the straight edge. And again, just going to pull my knife along. Not trying to cut hard, not trying to cut it all at once, just trying to cut it. It's okay with me if it takes 3 or 4 passes. Almost there. There we go. Alrighty. Now, for those edges, those round areas there, again, I in the past have used a round punch such as this, and that one's a little small. That's a 1 inch. That one is 1.25 inches, and I mean, it is just perfect for what I'm doing here. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut one with that, and then I'm going to cut one with my knife, trying to make them look the same. And if there's a way I'm going to screw this up, that'll be it. So, let's see. There we go. And if, you know, like here, okay, this corner is a little bit more than that corner, not a problem. I can sand that off, I can trim it off with a knife, I can do anything to make that match. And then the most beautiful thing about this entire project is it's going to be wrapped like we talked about. It's going to be round shaped like that, and you won't see small irregularities. Okay? So, Let's see, what's the best way to do this now? We're going to get inventive because, again, I want to cut it with a knife and I want to show you that it's possible. Even though there are better ways to do it, I understand that not everybody has those means available to them. So I am looking for a pair of wing dividers. We're going to do it this way. I'm going to trace my stitches with a pair of wing dividers very lightly. And that'll give us a nice little line to follow. Now, generally when I'm cutting around something like this, I like to do lots of little cuts. There's a cut. There's a cut. There's a cut. You get the point. I don't have to say that there's a cut, right? All right. I may have made this a little bit further from the stitch as I would like, so I may go back in there and trim that up a little, and I'm getting a little bit closer as I get around, just so there's not so much to work with. Okay. Alright, I find that it's a lot easier to do these little bitty cuts than it is to try to do one big round cut, for sure. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take and sand that to get rid of any of the little points that the cuts left. Okay, there's just some 320 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to kind of go around the circle. Nothing to it. Don't need a power sander, don't need anything crazy. There we go. Alright, let's do some edging. I have here Berry King size 0 and size 1. I'm going to do the 0 first and see if I like that or if I want to do the size 1 on it. And that 0 is perfect for this. I used to think when I rounded an edge for leather that I needed to make it perfectly domed and round, right? And all that really causes is a really big headache trying to burnish it evenly. It has no aesthetic value to it. It has no, I mean, like, it doesn't look any better. It doesn't work any better. It just was a belief I once had when I was a novice. And now that I am a novice plus 20 years, I think differently about things. There we go. Do the back side too. Now this is a project, I could leave it with naked edges, but I'm going to burnish them because I know they're going to turn out so beautifully with the two different colors of leather on there and that perfect edge that has no glue line or anything in it. I know that it's going to turn out amazing. So I'm going to burnish it, and I'm going to use Tokenol to do it. Tokenol is an amazing, amazing thing, and I really love once something is burnished how it has a really nice, I'm going to get some corners right there, I'm going to sand those right quick. I really like the how it leaves the edge just glassy, and I'll be able to see those two different colors. Now, I will tell you a little secret that I learned some time ago. If I took and licked that right there, or, you know, maybe hit it with a little bit of water for those of you that are afraid to lick your cows, and then sanded it, like wet sanded it, it would be really, really nice. It would be, it would be a really nice, smooth look to it. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So give me a second. When Janie Sue and I were dating, the first time she saw me lick a piece of leather, I thought she was going to leave me. It really does do a good job, though, of kind of getting your edge ready for burnishing. Okay, other side. Okay, the ends. And the other end. Okay, now burnishing is going to be super easy because it's already a lot smoother than it would be if I just regular sanded or didn't sand at all. Now, token oil, just like many burnishing agents, if I get it on my smooth leather, which has no sealant or finish on it, it will show up. It will leave a dark spot that I don't want there. So I've just got to be careful to avoid that. And I do that by using my fingers instead of like a big clumsy dauber or anything like that. Okay, and I'll do one end and one side at a time, and then I'll come around and do the other end and the other side. Again, I really like this token oil stuff. I had my doubts in the beginning. I thought, oh, just another burnishing agent. There's 1,000 of them out there. But it is the best one I've found. I've been playing with a lot of alligator in the last couple of years, and man, does it burnish some alligator. So, alright. Got that done. Got me a little piece of canvas, wiped off my excess, and now it's time to get to burnishing. Like glass. And then when I think it's done, because it looks done, I move it to a fresh piece of canvas and keep going. Or a fresh area of the canvas, you know what I mean? Now, hopefully you can see, I mean, there's a clear and definitive line where those two layers of leather are, and it looks just clean and nice. It's shiny. It's beautiful. I will not be wearing my alligator one home today because I'm going to wear this one now. Alright, so here we are. Other side, same thing. And then we're going to bend it. Alright, go ahead and close my token oil up. Okay, now we've burnished the other side. Second verse, same as the first. I love it when a plane comes together. Beautiful. All right, folks. Last thing is to make it a bracelet. Okay? So I'm going to take the end of it and put it in my little bracelet bender. And I just want to be really careful that I am pushing it straight around. I don't want to accidentally do it at an angle or anything like that, because then it's going to get all whomper-jawed and cattywampus, and we don't like either of those things. Okay, so I'm just wrapping it around. After a minute, it'll kind of slip out of there. Get it back on there where I use my stitch line as kind of a guide to make sure I'm going straight around this thing. Okay, so there's that half. And the other. And again, it gets a really nice kind of even bend on it, and then I just kind of take, like I got big wrists, so I kind of take and flatten out this top part, but push in on these edges here, and then put it on, see how it's doing. There it is. So, for those of you that commented today that you hoped I would do a video on this, here it is. Again, I'm not putting a finish on this because, man, it's going to look amazing after I sweat on it and gets dirty and all kinds of stuff like that. It's just going to look awesome. And that's exactly the look I'm going for. I'm not too good at the clean and prim and proper, but I'm pretty good at rustic. So, until next time, guys, I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and I hope you have a great day.